making sure.
Yes.
Yeah. If there's questions and not that I can't answer, look to you, but
Yeah.
unless you would like to do it differently.
I'll, I'll follow you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Incorrect spelling. You want to review that and make that's all I don't want to go into too much depth on the
Sounds good.
okay.
Yeah, I think less is more in this case,
Right.
just because it could become a very unwieldy conversation if.
Right. Were you able to get a hold of Tish about your question on the
Yeah, I got a hold of her.
okay, awesome.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It surely shouldn't be on something like what we're looking to do. It really shouldn't be that much and
I was looking on it too.
it's not bad. So at least with the
We'll
line
keep
of
going.
credit,
Yeah.
you can use it, pay it off, use it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Not that I think we'll need to, but you never know.
Yeah. I hope we don't. How do you like the secretary part?
I've only technically done it one full month now, but
Please be sure you sign in as you coming through the door. There's a table out front with a list and a paper. So if you could sign it on your way in, we would greatly appreciate it.
That's what I like too. Just if I have to draft a form like for this loan, fill out the paper first and then go back to it. So
this on?
The thought that you had about the lawn.
Yep, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try not to get in front of the ladies, please.
Oh,
In front of their view. If I scoot up a rope.
Are you guys swimming yet? No. Close? Yeah, we're getting closer. We had the last probably another week or so. Oh, that's great. That's exciting there. You gotta hurry or else it'll be too cold to swim. Yeah. If we get any this year, it's gonna be a plus. Yeah, that's good. Answer the phone. 600 pounds. So we bought these umbrellas to shade, temporarily at the pool, makeshift. What's that?
Did that chair not move?
That was the easy part. That took 4 minutes. Put the base. That was not fun. Took a lot of ibuprofen. I know Sandy saw us in the. Oh right, yeah, she was doing that. That's good. That's really good. Oh, then that's a little bit. He's wise beyond his years.
He said if it's under, I should under, I should.
Good morning, everybody. Am I on? Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. So if you did not get one, there probably should still be some out there. You can pick it up. Either that or you can share with whoever's sitting next to you. So as we begin our meeting, I would like Pastor Berkey to open us with prayer, please.
For the ministry opportunities that you have given us here at Trinity Lutheran Church and TLC Preschool. We thank you, Lord, for being faithful throughout our history, and as we are coming to a new chapter in our ministry, we pray that you would continue to lead, guide, and direct us. Lord, and as we discuss those things that are going on right now, may you allow us to just have your thoughts, have your plans in mind, always with the hope of sharing your gospel, for that is the reason we are here, is to bring the good news of your gospel.
Thank you, Pastor Berkey. The first thing on our agenda is the 22-23 budget, and then Pastor and Jerry is going to present that to you.
All right. Hopefully you all received a copy of flows, and that is cash flows for the church and the preschool for the 2021-2022. So hopefully you had a chance to see that. By God's grace, we did better than we had planned to. As you can see at the very bottom, we actually came and 162,000 in the preschool checking. So certainly we give thanks to the Lord for his faithfulness there. And like I said, you can see those cash flows. As you look down there, let's see, church includes all the renovations that we've done to date so far. I do need to give you a comment on that, is that, and this will probably not be a surprise to any of you, but we are running beyond where we thought we would be with our costs and our expenses, and trying to save a few bucks here and there. So any questions on that document there? I think it's, as you can see, it's broken down, I think broken down pretty nicely. But then again, that's my opinion. All right, well, if you do think of any questions, I'd certainly be willing to answer those. Then if you would turn to the second page then, so the back side of the agenda, then this is if you look at the church income, we are being, I would say, somewhat or maybe pretty conservative there. We're actually kind of looking and saying we don't know what giving is going to look like, so we have, as you can see, a pretty conservative number in place. If you look, we are, we may be adding a staff position. I suppose that's up to you all. Parish ministry assistant, and then this also has in place a worship leader. I will note that if you look, that it's a little bit better, is because we have a stabilization grant coming in. So a stabilization grant brings about is projected about 204. Wait, oops, I'm on the wrong line. I apologize there. When I got here was that we wanted to see increases in the preschool salaries. I don't know if you knew this or not, but some of our teachers were getting paid, and aides were getting paid less than fast food workers. 17, yes, line 17. If you're looking at now, another thing I want to mention about this is, if the number looks way off there, understand that this is projected 4 additional staff positions, but not the additional students, the income we'd have from them. So anyhow, that's a couple notes I wanted to make. Is there any other notes that I'm forgetting on that phone? And
what is the stabilization grant? Is that to be repaid or what?
So no, I'm glad. That was increased to 19,000. That's coming just as long as we keep our preschool open. Don't shut it down for more than 2 weeks at a time. That's coming from the state, just that we, so we can keep our staffing at the levels we want to. And
in the grant, they specified that the difference of the 7,500 and the 19,000 has to specifically go towards workforce. So they have to see raises and they have to see it going directly.
Report how we're using them. Largely it's been used, as Catherine said, is for salaries thus far, so it's not humorous, funny, but there was one other piece you'd asked about, and it's escaped my mind though, but does not have to be repaid back, will be through July 2023. As Catherine said, figured them out now. At first it was a little bit of a pain. So was there a hand over here, or was I imagining things? Oh yeah. future. But right now I can't predict that and say for sure. So, yeah, fair question. Let me kind of expand a little bit on that. Is the goal, the purpose of the grant is for your employees. So benefits, raises, salaries, bonuses, if we choose, bonuses, those are all included. We can also use the funds, for other things as well. So if we need to use for salaries, but the other 7,500 of that 19,000 can be used for, like I said, a toilet breaks, and we need to fix the toilet. We could use the money for that. I don't know why I picked that, but so, maybe because it's important. Yeah. Just kidding.
Just one question on the loan of 500,000. When is that start to get repaid? And
32 is, if you're looking at the condensed budget, line 32 is where that is getting repaid. That's I had mentioned, and I maybe
is what we'll incur for interest expense on $500,000.
well, because our hope is to have sold the property within 6 months from now. And originally we had only said 3 months, and like I said, made the number in the black better, but realistically, we might be looking at 6 months, 18,000 and change for interest. I yield the floor to you.
Accept the budget. So the motion would be to approve the 2022-23 budget for Trinity Lutheran Church and TLC Preschool as. And second, and your name is? Bob Griffin seconded. Any further discussion?
Good afternoon. So the update is that our multifamily, he's going to like light industrial type commercial. So the best plan and scenario is that he gets his plans submitted this week, and then we can close within 10 days once we have city approval. So as long as everything goes as planned, we will close hopefully before Thanksgiving. As long as we go, 2000.
Far away.
Well, I'll let her.
Okay. We, Itemson. And on Courtson, we were going to build a new church, and we were also going to expand our preschool. So they didn't go as planned. So since they didn't go as planned, we decided that, and the one on Treckle came available, we could do, it was easier for us to go to the one to go to Treckle than it would to do an undeveloped land in Courtson. So we decided to sell Courtson. Not only that, in Toltec, we had, but because of rise of costs and because we already had a structure, we decided we would sell that and invest in the Treckle campus. You're welcome. Is that a good enough? I believe we sold it for $1 million. Is that correct, Donna? We're under contract for $1 million.
About or wanting to know more about is all those things, the zoning and all those things that the buyer's wanting. Are we having to pay for that, or is that something that he's doing?
That's incumbent upon the buyer, because we were zoned for religious purposes when we sold it, but then he an industrial plot. So it kind of like, when he bought it, it had to be rezoned for his multifamily, then he changed his mind, now it's rezoning again.
Okay.
So that's what's kind of like lagging it up a little bit.
Where? No. Buyer for the delay is in closing on that property?
Donna?
Not everybody can. Anyway. Are there any penalties on the buyer
of that property for being such a delay in closing?
No, because the way the original contract was constructed is that the close of escrow to be within 10 days of city approval. So we have put some restrictions on him through those, so, yeah.
Wait.
I don't talk directly to the buyer.
Are you comfortable that he will actually not back out at this since he's
He
spent
has
so
so
much?
much money invested in this. He has over $50,000 invested in his planning and zoning changes and his plans. So he's not going to walk away from it. Now, if he gets to the end and he doesn't get his zoning that he wants and he cancels, he's out his own money. He can't come after us for that. But that would be on him.
Okay, thank you for your questions. Is everybody understanding now what Courtson is and where we're at with the sale of the property? Okay. All right, so we're going to move to the $150,000 line of credit. As Pastor already mentioned, renovations, of course, are renovations, right? And in the course of reservations, we can estimate how much it's going to cost, but it's also because a lot of things. Since we are beyond that, if you look at B, we are going to open a $150,000 line of credit. Now, a line of credit does not mean that we are getting a loan for $150,000. It means that's the cap. It's kind of like writing a check on your checking account, okay? You write for what you need, but we're capping it at $150,000. I think we're currently sitting at $7,000, is that correct? We're currently sitting at $7,000 that we need beyond our $200,000 that we are not aware of. So when you're doing renovations, you get in there, you start redoing everything. You end up finding things that need to be done that you didn't know until you got there, right? So actually, if you stop and think about it, $7,000 beyond what we said that we would be at is not bad. It's pretty good. Yes.
That's after draining our rainy day funds.
Oh. Okay, so we did use our rainy day funds, and so we need to go beyond that.
What is the interest rate?
Lutheran Church Extension Fund? Any other questions?
After this next inspection is coming up,
On
probably lessens quite a bit, correct?
Correct. May I?
Sure,
Yeah.
please.
I just, so kind of comment on that question and then in general. So with the expenses that we're looking at, we're also looking at some of the upgrades. This week we'll have our fire inspection, so then we can have the state licensor out from on August 25th and get our certificate of occupancy also before that. So that's why we really need these things to fall into place, because if they don't, our state licensor won't come back out until mid-September. So remember how I asked y'all to pray this morning?
Year-old room. It's older 2-year-olds. They're right now, 2 lead teachers and 2 assistants in there as well. And then this year I have a school-aged room, and the assistant in one of the 3-year-old rooms actually is running the school-age rooms because Casa Grande went to a 4-day school week. So right now we're trying to get that program started to offer care on Fridays for those school-age students. I have been getting phone calls every day, people stopping in for tours. Actually, Friday, I just registered 4 students alone. They all stopped in. So it's coming, and I am hopeful that being out on that main drag and being more visible will be helpful as well. In September, we will be starting Prayer Partners, and I'm super excited to include you guys in this. So how it's going to work is we're going to have a list of students by their first name, and you can sign up to pray for that student specifically by name, first names only, or a little gift, just so that every child is receiving something from a prayer partner and just not a handful. So keep looking for those sign-ups, probably next week or the week after. You can sign up by the child's first name. And the preschool students are scheduled to sing 3 times this year in regard to moving to the new building, as I know you all are. The playground is ready to go. A big thank you to Charlie and Naomi, who put all their sweat and tears into putting up big shade umbrellas on Friday. So that should be good to go. And at the new building, so technically I believe our capacity will be 105 with all 5 classrooms available. To start, however, we are going to be using one classroom as the office. So Pastor Berkey will be in there, Anna will be there, I'll be in there, Naomi will be in there, teachers will be in there working. As we grow more, we're gonna get kicked out of that office and make room for kids. So we are hoping that happens sooner than later, because we will gladly find someone.
Quiz you. How long do you think, or excuse me, when was the start date for Ms. Catherine? Does anybody remember? I certainly do. I don't know why, but Pastor Berkey.
September 12th was her installation.
All right, thank you.
So far, so good. The first thing that I needed to do was get a little history on the power bills that UMC incurred. And I talked to a gentleman over there. His name is Dave Ridley. And he was wonderful in giving us all the power bills from 2021 back to 2015. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but if we can convert Dave from being a Methodist to a Lutheran, it would really be a blessing. So he has been so helpful in this move process. Now let's see if this is going to work. So far we're failing my presentation here. Can we do an El Manuel or something? If this is the case, it's going to be a short presentation. Okay, there we go. Thank you. The little equipment. This is a snapshot of what the Treckle bill looks like. And you can see June, July, August, and September is during the summer months, and we generate a little bit more dollars for ED2. We couldn't get this all in one slide, but that's the total amount for the power bills for 2019. It was $12,000. So the next thing down the agenda was to find a solar provider that would do commercial power or commercial solar. And I thought that was going to be a piece of cake. They're all over the internet and wherever would be solar providers. You contact them, no, we just do residential, I'm sorry. So one particular company says, you might try to call Sun Valley Solar Solution, which I did. But prior to calling them, I did a little background check on them. They've been with Better Business Bureau, A+ for 16 years. They've been on Angie's Super Service Award 6 times, and they were rated #1 solar installer in the state of Arizona. So I thought it was safe to call them.
So I made contact with their sales department, and I shared with them all the power bills that I received from the Methodist Church. And based on that, they came back and said we would need 42 modules, 1 inverter, and based on the 42 modules, and also based on the information we gave them, we would see a 50% annual offset in our electric bill. Now the modules have a 25-year power performance guarantee. The inverter has a 10-year, and what's not listed there is a workmanship warranty that they will come out, Solar Solution will come out once a year and check our system, make sure it's up and running properly, and they'll do that for 2 years. And by talking to them, it almost sounds like that's a negotiable item. I think that could be even extended. So based on that, the sales person I was talking to, he says typically on the commercial application, we'll either do a rooftop or covered parking. Well, right now, I don't feel that a rooftop is a good candidate for our new campus at this particular time. One is we'd have to re-roof the roofing up there. It only has up to a 5-year life on it right now. And also we have air conditioning units up there, and I'm not sure how that'll work with the 42 panels. So, excuse me. The other option was to do covered parking. Now on a side note, I was in a meeting with Catherine, and she was looking for sunshades that would cover the playground, and she was getting bids anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 for fabric material to go over the playground area just to cover the shades. I know she's bought some temporary things right now. So I went back to the engineers at Solar Solution, and I said, can you cover a playground area? They came back and said, yes, we can. It'd be an additional cost of $5,000 in material because they would have to reconfigure the panels, as well as they would be elevated over over the playground. I need to back up. That was $5,000 over what a covered parking would be. So looking at what Catherine was looking at, $10,000 to $40,000, a $5,000 kicker, it seemed like that was a pretty good deal. Okay, with the 42 modules, the 1 inverter, and covering the playground would be $109,000. And that cost is variable with the cost of steel. In May, I got a quote, and then in July, it went up $1,600 just in the cost of steel itself. So based on the power bills that we saw, that was shown in 2019 of $12,000, using 50% savings and the cost of $109,000, it would take 17 years and some change for return on investments. The electrical provider over there is ED2, and what they charge for a commercial solar customer is a flat $50 a month. There is a one-time charge for a special meter for a three-phase system for $200. And a little different than APS or SPR, SRP, excuse me. ED2 does not have what they call net metering. They do have somewhat of a system. It's any energy that we deliver back to the district, they give us 4 cents per kilowatt. It's a micro billing, but anyhow, anytime that we go back and start using the grid, we pay the normal rates that we're paying today. So whatever they charge us today is what they're going to charge tomorrow. The only thing that we have to deal with is the flat $50 a month. It is a special charge. And I think that's the end of my presentation. If there's any questions. Yes.
It's obvious. Maybe we'll talk again. It doesn't sound like I'm talking. What's the cost of replacing an inverter somewhere down the line? Because that's going to happen.
I don't have
approximately.
An answer. I have no idea. I might tell you this is based on a 50% reduction, an offset. I know that if we wanted to go to like a 70% or 75%, we would have to add another 20 panels. I can't give you a price on that, but instead of being 42 panels, we would be adding another 22 on top of that. So same inverter, yes.
Just hold it close.
So basically, I don't know, that doesn't sound like that good of a deal, because if stuff goes up, and then just like I've got Tesla on my roof, and it was put in 2013, you can't get those panels. Anything happens, even though they have the maintenance, it's a lease deal for 20 years. I pay $19.11 a month for that lease deal. So not too bad of a deal, except for they only give you so much back. And they say I use 600 kilowatts. It's a 4,000 kilowatt system, or 4,200. Spending that kind of money is absurd, because you don't want to own it and have a warranty. You'd be better off having them with a warranty, you know, that they, if you lease it, where your costs aren't so high. Because spending $110,000 to save 50 grand is not, doesn't sound like
well, let me add
a good deal.
Let me add something to this. One of the things I asked the sales consultant was, we were interested in what the cost would be, what the savings would be. Do you have a program can we purchase to own, lease? Are there any programs out there that could help us? He says, well, let me start off. I can answer those questions right away. On the commercial side of the house, they do not have a PPA or purchase to own or lease. It's strictly cash up front. There is no programs at this particular time that would help out a nonprofit organization as ours. That's not to say something coming down the road is, and I'm not aware of any grants that could help us out. All this is just strictly informational I'm providing to you. It's different than residential, than on the commercial side. Question up front.
Okay, wait for the mic.
Because I know the rules.
Don't touch it.
That was 2019. What are they paying right now? Do we have anything of what last year was? Because it's not going to be that cheap.
Well, the only reason I stopped at 19 was 2020 was pandemic, and 2021 was coming out of pandemic. But if you look at 2019 prior, it was pretty much running about the same. One more question back there, and one up here.
So energy costs have gone up to begin with from 2020 on up to now. So that's kind of fictitious, really knowing what's going to happen. And I mean, where are the panels made? They're not made here. And then on top of that, and like I said, 10 years or so, I talked to Tesla. He says, your panels that aren't even 10 years old are obsolete. They're junk. He says, you know, they'd have to replace them. If I have to put a roof on, then somebody has to come out and take them off so I can put a roof on. I didn't put them on. I bought the house with it because I can kind of figure out simple math. So I kind of think, you know, you leave this alone for about 5 years and then you can take a look at it. Maybe you'll be somewhere, but with energy, until you find out who's going to be commissioners or whatever, because they let the energy costs just run rampant and stuff like that. I mean, this is kind of getting to a mute point of, you know, we're kind of done.
Again, I'm not trying to sell. I checked with ED2. Their rates have been pretty flat in the last 6 to 8 years, okay? And there's a 25-year performance guarantee. At the end of 25 years, they're guaranteed to be working at 80%.
At the years you did look at, were they using all that classroom area like we will be? Is our usage actually going to be quite a bit higher than theirs is what I'm wondering.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But it's the only tool that I had to go with. It was what they were running.
Just a comment to that is that I would just personally feel we will be using the church more because we are a bigger congregation. We have the preschool and we'll be using, so I would think what they're using is pretty much a minimum, my opinion.
Do you want the mic?
All I can say is that most of the buildings over there during the whole week are set at 80 degrees. So it would be more.
Well, if I remember correctly, the sanctuary, they keep it below that because of the piano. 76 degrees. Whether a piano needs 76 degrees, I have no idea. So, it's...
Wait a second. It doesn't know.
Any other questions? Again, this is just information. If the steel price goes down, if there's programs out there that I'm only giving you the information that I was able to capture at this particular time. So, anyhow, end of my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Like we said, it's just a lot of information for us to think about. We just wanted to let you know energy costs and ways that might be possible to cut it, but just something to think about. If you remember right, last year we voted on a delegate to go to Las Vegas, I believe, and we had Delcia back there. Come forward, please, Delcia, and Pastor Berkey. They went to that delegation, and they would like to give you some information about that district convention.
You guys thought you were done hearing my voice up here. Sorry, I'll keep it quick. So Pastor and I did attend the 2022 district convention, which was at Faith Lutheran Middle and High School in June this year. If you ever get a chance, or Pastor ever asks for a delegate again, I would go. I was really impressed. I learned so much. Pastor thought we were going to be separated, but we were actually sitting just like this, which was really fun too. So we got to discuss, and he got to explain a lot to us. So there were things sent out, and Pastor and I just wanted to kind of brief over some of the resolutions and amendments that were done and that were approved. The main are starting with the vote for our district president. It will remain Reverend Gibson. So Pastor Gibson is still our district president. And I'm also going to throw in that our vice president for our region is still Vince Harmon. So those two remain the same. An amended resolution. One was to establish 100 new faith communities within the Pacific Southwest District by the time of the 100th anniversary of the district at the 2031 convention, and that was approved. So I think we're going to be doing some things to help celebrate.
It's not just congregations, but any kind of new ministries that are started. So, for instance, our Embracing Grace would fit under this because it's a new ministry that our church is starting. So the goal is, again, for 100 new ministries and on our 100th anniversary as a district. So kind of a cool initiative, I think.
Yeah, and with our new campus, I'm sure we're going to get more ministries going. Another one, a resolution to create a third pathway for general pastoral colloquy for members of LCMS congregations who have graduated with an accredited Master's of Divinity degree from a non-LCMS seminary. Yeah.
This is the J Valley.
Yes.
In subtext, this is the J Valley. Yeah. Our congregation actually submitted this one. So.
Yeah. Pastor Berkey put this in, so yay. Yeah. Another was amended resolution to strengthen the non-voting advisory delegate participation at district conventions. So, for instance, it was the DCEs and so forth. We got to see this round. They tested it with us. And so DCEs that don't get to go as a voting member or a voting participant, they still ask. They still ask them to cast a vote on how they would like to influence us, to tell us, yeah, this sounds good even for us. And so it actually worked. They allowed DCEs and
teachers, preschool directors, anyone who is a commission minister. So, so that would be DCEs, Director of Christian Education, DCOs, Director of Christian Outreach. There's a whole list of folks who really don't unfortunately have a vote. And what this does is allows them to at least have their voice heard. Really quick history lesson is from the beginning, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod has had where there is a pastoral vote and there's a lay vote representation. So the pastoral and lay delegate. And then we created these commission ministers, and for a long time in our synod, they've had no vote. And Catherine can speak to that, Kathy can speak to that, and unfortunately they've not been able to, because there's been the pastoral or the lay and not a middle ground there. This is taking a step forward, and we're actually not only doing it in our district, but we're going to memorialize the synod, ask the synod to adopt a similar process where our commission ministers, which we have, I think it's 3 times the amount of commission ministers in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod than we do ordained ministers. So that's a huge percentage of our professional church workers who have no voice. So this is a step forward on that. So.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to see how that kind of helped, and it helped me on a couple voting things that we did, to hear how they felt about it. So Yeah, really good. Let me see. Okay, the next one was a resolution to apply term limits to the president, first vice president, secretary, and treasurer of the Pacific Southwest District. That was defeated, so there will not be the term limits. And the last one is a resolution to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Pacific Southwest District, and that was, of course, approved. So.
And that the reason we wanted to share that one with you all is because they're asking churches to do different things during the next through the 2031, and one of the things will be helping them to compile histories of our congregation, so that they have a comprehensive history of all the congregations in our district. There currently is not one. There's actually a fabulous one on our Hispanic ministries, but not on all of our ministries. So stay tuned, because they're, like I said, they're asking, and there'll be a committee that's going to be putting materials out for us to, again, 100 years out here out west, sharing the gospel. And so.
Yeah. One last thing, Pastor doesn't have it on our notes, but I'm going to mention it because I thought it was a really big deal. So at this convention, you have everyone coming together, and it's just a mix of hundreds of people. And you guys, I have to say, I felt very proud next to Pastor, seeing him work with everyone, and all the good words when they heard we now have Pastor Jonathan Berkey. When I knew ahead that he was going up for secretary of the district, and I sat and I knew, oh, he's too busy. He's going to be busy with Trinity.
Yeah.
He can't mess with the district stuff. There's no way. But being there in that convention and the atmosphere and seeing the importance and the position that he was nominated for, I just thought, wow. So I don't know if you guys read Naomi's message, but Pastor did get selected as the district secretary, and I think that is such a great thing. Yeah. So, sorry.
Thank you.
And that's the end.
All right. Thank you, Delcia. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, while I'm still standing up here, I wanted to, we do have the privilege, as we sent someone to our district convention. Delcia, thank you so much for doing that. We do also have what's coming up called our circuit forum. So we are part of the churches in this area. We are part of 27 North, which is 4 churches, but then we join with 27 South, which is out of Tucson, a circuit, a group of LCMS churches there. And so we'll have 8 churches coming together to decide who's going to represent our circuit, 27, at the national convention. So next summer is the national convention, and coming up September 12th at 6:30 in the evening, there's a Zoom meeting where we can have as we did for the district convention, a lay delegate and a pastoral delegate to represent our congregation to decide who from our circuit, those 8 churches, will be going to the national convention. So I do have one nomination so far, and that was for Rich Schlesselman. Can I ask for the nominations or no? Okay, so I can ask for the nominations, but the boss calls for the vote. So are there any other nominations? You can, yes, Pam. Okay, Delcia, do you accept the nomination? Right now, it's only committing to 6:30 on September 12th in the evening and nothing further. Over Zoom. Okay. Oh, she accepted the nomination. We have, so any other nominations? Oh, even after that glowing report she gave of the convention? All right. Well, then I yield it back to you, Madam President. We have Rich Schlesselman and we have Delcia Harbor. He is not here, but he sent me an email confirm. Yes. Okay. Do you want to announce that, or you want me to? Okay.
Okay, so now we have 2 nominees. We have Delcia Harbor and we have Rich Schlesselman. So how we're going to do this, I think we're going to pass out paper, and we'll do it by paper vote. So that means I need a couple of people who would be willing to count the votes. Anybody willing to count votes? Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. I got 2 people. And I think in your chairs in front of you, you'll find your pencils that you need. And then as you do that, Don will come around, or either that or Mrs. Alonso.
And
She'll collect.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're going to write down the name either Delcia or Rich.
Yes.
Thank you.
So as they're counting the votes, the person with the most votes will be the one that will go to the convention, and then the other will be the alternate. Okay? So as soon as they're done counting the ballots, they'll let us know. Okay. Thank you for your patience and for your time. And it looks like Delcia, you are going, and Rich will be our alternate. So, at this point, I need to call for a motion to elect Delcia as the lay delegate and Rich as the alternative lay delegate to the Circuit Forum on September 12th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. O'Farrell, okay? With a second. This time I remembered, we already have the vote, okay? So, the motion, it's carried that Delcia, you'll be going to the convention and Rich will be our delegate, okay? Our alternate, yes, the alternate lay delegate. Thank you. Thank you to both of you for being willing to represent us at this forum. Okay. All right, so just before we go, we have one more little thing to do on our agenda, and it's Pastor's birthday today. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to sing happy birthday, but since I don't really have a good voice, I'm going to step off to the side, and then we're going to start singing, okay? Everybody ready? Thank you so much. And Pastor, we are very grateful that you are here. And happy birthday. Pardon me? Is he 29 today? That's what I was going to find out. I was just about to say, this must be 29 for about, yeah. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay. Then I would like to adjourn this meeting. And let's end it with the Lord's Prayer, please. Ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. As we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you for coming.
And thank you all for singing to me.